Hello. So today we are playing Subway Builder. I've been having a lot of fun with this game. And I saw on YouTube no one has made a video using the Boston map, which is kind of fun because I just moved to Boston, so I've been getting some knowledge of their subway system. It's the oldest in America. And so today we're going to try out, fix some things. Probably not that well, I'm not a civil engineer, but we're gonna have fun with this. We're gonna start with normal mode, start with 3 billion. I've had some practice on this map. I've mainly been playing the New York map. I do have some resources. I have a picture of the current MBT map, as well as I have Google Maps opened in another browser if I need help with some of the stations. So we will be using some of the main stations around downtown, and then after that, that's where we can have more creativity, as well as how in real life, the lines can't really interact. We have the green line, which is basically a light metro. We have the orange line, which comes from the south, goes north up here. We have the red line, which goes into MIT, also comes down. It's the most used line, as well as there's the blue line, which goes up to the airport, as well as further beyond into the east. About Boston, here's downtown, here's Back Bay, we have Fenway, we have Cambridge over here, we have South Boston, Seaport, we have the airport, we have Chelsea, and Riviera up here. So our goal today is we're going to build out, use up all of our budget, and we're going to try to have a line starting. We're going to start our green line. We're going to start our red line. We're going to start a blue line, and then a new one we're going to have is a yellow line, as well as we might do the orange line today. So we're going to be starting off. We're going to be building a quad track downtown. And what's different is in real life, they kind of have like a square where the lines don't interact with each other. You have to use walkways if you're transferring for some of them. But we're going to do it a little differently. We're going to have a perpendicular station downtown. That way, I think I'm going to try to fit at least 4 lines going. So I'm going to do quad track. I have tested it. Because of some of these buildings, you can see in your map layers minimum tunnel depth. Some of these need deeper tunnels. So we're going to start this first one off at a 15. Outside of downtown, we're going to be using cut and cover. We're going to try to only use cut and cover. That would save us a lot of money. But downtown, we're going to have to go pretty deep. So before, I had a station like this. Oh, here's one thing before I start. In real life, the blue line comes from the airport, goes to the station called Maverick. It comes into Government Center, and then it ends at a little station, Bodine. We're not going to have the station. Instead, I have some tricks to be able to be able to have turnarounds at quad stations, as well as I have some tricks linking parallel tracks into quad stations. For instance, we're going to have a split off right here on Tremont Street and Boylston. This is Boylston Street where my cursor is. So we're going to have a green line going down Boylston, just like real life. And then we're going to have the orange line come up through right here. And basically, when I tested it before, it's kind of wonky, but it works. And actually works pretty well. Once you have to use single tracks. And the quad tracks you would think, are going up, down, but actually they're going up, down, from right to left. So that's something I learned because I did not know that. That's how tracks worked. So let's just start off. Let's build our first station. And we're going to have Government Center, just like real life. I'm going to name it after the real life. We're going to have east, west, and north and south. And one thing, if you guys are doing this, don't have them overlaps in the middle, or setting your routes will be very difficult. They have to be 4 meters apart. So then we're gonna have this one, and then we're gonna have this one. I've tested it. Okay. You can use cut and cover here. So I could try to use that, but because it's all 2 times cost anyway, it's fine to just, for this first one, make it a little deeper. This building's gonna have some interaction issues. So let's put it like that. So we're gonna label these differently once we build them. But now we're just gonna go around setting all the stations. So to make this easy, since we're gonna have a green line come off this one, as well as an orange line in the future, we're gonna have the orange, we're gonna follow, you know, some of the real life. So we're gonna have orange go up here, up into Somerville, and then we're gonna have the green line, or I guess this is all Somerville. Orange line goes up here, green line's gonna go kind of north Cambridge. And if I'm wrong about anything, I just moved here. I'm not too familiar with all the towns yet. So we're gonna have a quad station running under TD Garden right here. Kind of, can probably, you can't use cut and cover. I'll show you guys why. Yeah, it's gonna have a bunch of issues. When I tested this, I only had to demolish one building in all of the map. I had an airport line, I had a line up into Eagle Hill, I had a line down here into Tufts and kind of South Boston. Oh, that's another thing. I'm gonna have a line from, this is South Station, where Amtrak runs electric regional trains, up into North Station. That's something that people have been fighting for. It's gonna cost a lot of money, but good thing we're playing a video game. So now let's just connect North Station to government. I should be able to just easily connect this. In real life, there's a station, I believe right here, Haymarket. We're not gonna deal with that, especially since we're only doing heavy metro. The stops are gonna be a little bit farther than in real life. Over here, we're gonna put in cut and cover station with parallel tracks. And this is, oh, I guess we're gonna have to do 11. Oops. And this is Charles and MGH, which is Mass General Hospital. Okay, that looks good. We're also gonna have the aquarium stop, which I should be able to just put that there. We're gonna actually do cut and cover. Let's try not to hit anything. So these are all real stations in real life. Except for this cross. There's like Park Street, or State Street's over here. There's Park Street. I'm just trying to simplify it. So let's connect up these stations. Have it right there. And I know from before, because my plan is to have a yellow line, which will be a new line going into the airport. Right now the airport station is kind of in this triangle, I believe, or offset somewhere over here, and it's about a 30-minute walk, 20-minute walk from the airport. Or you can take the bus. The buses are always filled. Just when I moved here, that was my experience. So we're gonna do something. We're gonna be in the 21st century, and we're gonna have the airport line run into the actual airport, so people can take concourses to whatever terminal they're at. So to do that, there needs to be a turnaround right here. That's where that station I was talking about, Bodine, there's actually a circular track, so tracks can run around. We're not going to do that, and because there's only going to be the red line over here, I don't think there's going to be too many issues if we have kind of a turnaround. I don't know the term for it, but I'll draw it out, and then you guys can see what I'm talking about. Right, we're not going to be able to do cut and cover. We're going to have to do standard tunnel. And then right about here. And we're probably gonna move this back. Let's do last one. That's one nice thing is this game's based off nodes. So if I want to just cut it right here, I just do that. I guess I'm gonna need the slope. And then you just delete the tracks. And now I'll have that. So we're gonna add a crossover. Okay, and this is important. Remember how it said it's up, down, up, down? I don't know why the volume just turned on. We're gonna connect these, and I believe there should be a node point, see right there. And see how I'm connecting it? It's hard to tell, but there's a little turnaround. So you wanna make sure you're connecting it. I guess in this situation, south to north. And we're gonna click right there. And that's going to give you the nice line. And you should be able to do the same thing with the snapping, and it should look a nice little curve. So now trains can run on this outside line into this, and then go down here, go down, cross over. It is going to cause a bit of traffic, but I think there won't be too much activity right here. We'll find out. I mean, I might be wrong. I probably will be wrong. So we should be able to have this. Okay, so that's not going to work. So we're going to have to use a standard tunnel. That's not going to work either. So instead, we're just going to have a standard tunnel run right here. And then we're going to back this up because I know this station is at a cut and cover level. And then we're just going to bring this in. Nice. Don't even have to worry. Could make it straight, but we want to keep our speeds as high as possible. Okay, so now that's done. We will have to do, because we're just going to do all the cleanup first, so I don't have to do it later. We're going to have to add that crossover here as well. So we're going to do single. I think I used 11 over here. We'll find out. It will tell me if I'm wrong. And this one, I was able to just do one like this. See how it's curving like that? That's how you know. So you gotta go back a little. We'll use, 16 should be fine. And that should be good for now. We can add one later if we need to. Okay. Now, my plan is to put a north station right here. I believe this has to be, I think this can be 11. Yeah. So we're gonna have a heavy station parallel, and this will be for our red line, connecting north station to the south. So, in order to connect south station to north station, we're gonna kind of cut through here. But I want this to go downtown. So we're gonna worry about that little shortcut later. And we're gonna have an express route that doesn't go through downtown. And if that route isn't seeing much usage, which I think it will because it will be connected, it will kind of be you can go around all this hullabaloo, go up here. But we could always just delete the route, but keep the tracks for kind of realism, They want to connect heavy rail north to south. It will be easier getting through Boston for Amtrak. And we'll have a little write-off. So let's build our tracks for this, so we kind of know where we're going. So I believe I want to run it like this, and then we're gonna have kind of some issues right here. So I think this one, see, now I can't remember which one's, okay, so this slope is at 11. So we might have some issues with these buildings. So we're gonna drop it down to 15 again. And that's still 2, okay. I think I dealt with this before. And we're gonna have to do quads, I remember. So we're gonna have to do something like that, which isn't too lovely, but I think we'll be all right. And then we're gonna add a crossover. Actually, I don't think we have to add a crossover. We'll do parallel, and then we can just use cut and cover for this side. We might adjust this station. Let's adjust this station real quick. To do that, you just delete tracks. It's the same thing. Yeah, that's better. Okay. Oh, and then look, 3D, you can see all the lines, how they're going to interact. So, to do this, we want to use this outside lane to connect to this outside lane. And that steeps too much. Okay, so that means we're going to have to drop this one down to 11. It's going to be a long video, but should be fun. 11. I think right there should be good. Okay. Now we're going to connect this outside lane going into here. And then this one and swooping into there. Okay. These tracks all have to cross at the same height. So we might have an issue. Wrong way. We might have an issue with this connection. Yeah. can't overlap. So we're gonna have to go back and we're gonna have to drop this down because we know that this is at 15. We know that this is at 15. So it is gonna cost us a bit of money, but it should save us some headaches. Okay, so that's still too much. So if I'm here, interesting. Okay. So what if we just do this? Let's connect our single tracks first, and then from there, we'll connect our new tracks. So we'll have our tracks right there. And then we'll have this one. The two outside, I just realized, don't really matter. It's really just the two inside ones about the heights. I guess that one is gonna care. Okay, let's fix that. Okay. Keep messing it up. Okay. Yeah, I don't like that swoop. So let's get rid of that. And let's just build, we're gonna have a line go here. And let's see, is that gonna see? Okay, there we go. Now we're good. And now the slope is gonna get mad at us. So we're gonna cut off the track right here. Once it lets me. Oop. And then delete this, single. Still too sleep, it's too sloped. Let's do that, and then we'll just back this up. There's probably a nicer way to do this, but okay, it doesn't like that. Too steep. Let's connect that in. Perfect. Now, is it this way? Yep. Okay, that's still too steep. So let's cut it off right here. I think you don't even have to save. Yeah, you don't even have to save the actual bit. That's not nice. Okay, so we need it. Okay, let's try that. That's gonna be at 15. The other track should be at 15. There we go. Okay. So that's gonna be the most complicated thing we do today. Actually, well, we'll see with Tremont Street. So let's get reoriented here. Yeah. Okay. So let's do something a little easier. We're gonna create Maverick Station, which is located right here. And I just realized we're gonna have one more complicated station, at least. And we're gonna have a quad track station right here. And the reason is so we can have a turnaround for the red line, or the blue line. Or is it the yellow line? Because the yellow line will be cut off at Sumner. I think that makes the most sense, and then everyone hops onto the I guess, the blue line. In real life, the blue line kind of just heads up here along. You can kind of see, I think it's, yeah, you can kind of see the track. I think it's along this road right here. So with that, let's connect. Oh, I just realized this. Now we're using cut and cover over here. Let's see what our budget's at. 1.3. So we should be good. We should have enough money. We'll try to set up all the main stations today. So we'll have a quad, Maverick Square. And then from there, all you have to do, let's see if we can do this faster. We'll come out here, add a crossover, and then put your parallel tracks in. And let's just connect that. Oof, they want to spend 20 million on a building. Let's do that. Boom. And then to be able to have our trains turn around, we should be able to just do this. So you can connect these in. This isn't really necessary for this line, but just so our trains can turn around. Then I believe, am I doing it right? Or is it this way? It's kind of hard to tell sometimes. You really just have to see if there's that curve going on. Yeah, see how there's that curve? But if I'm on this line, oh, it is. Oh, okay, so it's, yeah. So they're both curved, so I just need to do that. And vice versa. Just do that until you hit that crossover node. So that will cause a bit of traffic, but I think it should be all right. So now let's have the airport station. And for the airport station, I'm gonna have to build it lower if I want it actually in the airport. And see, I think this would be a good spot for it. Oops. There could be a spot right here. We could say that's good. One thing I haven't touched on is this game uses census data, I believe. So we can see where people are. These are where people are living, all these dots. And then we can see where people are working. So mainly people are working this downtown area. And then there's a lot of workers at the airport as well. And then there's a ton of workers along Boylston and Huntington Avenue, which is this street right here. And then we have Fenway. So I think it should be fine if we put the station over here for the workers. In headcanon, there would be underground concourses connecting each of the terminals using those like those escalators, but flat escalators. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, so we have the airport station. We're gonna build that out. I think we should be fine. Let's do that. And I realize one thing, I'm gonna have to back up this Maverick station because we're gonna have a cut and cover track going down like this. So let me set up the tracks and then we can, and I realize this has to be dropped down to be able to, unless we can have it snake through here. Let's just, in hindsight, let's see. No, because that's, so we'll have it connect like that. We'll have this little portion be sloped, and then we'll delete this once we're done using it. There. Delete that. Alright, a lot of trial and error, guys. So let's just, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna make Maverick Station shorter. Heavy Metro, and we're gonna have, this is cut and cover station, remember? And we're just gonna have it as short as possible. And then we'll add, same thing like I did over there, the outside tracks. And I think we're gonna have an issue because of slope again. So let's see if we can get around that. Yeah. So what if I just drop this down? If I, So what do we want to do about that? Let's delete this. Let's delete these. And just to make it easy, we'll have, since this one's already cut and cover, let's paste these in, put these in. Oof, okay. How close can I get this? Let's bring this track down even further. And then just simplify it. There it goes there. And if you guys have any comments on what I'm doing, let me know. I like to learn. I'm not this is a passion of mine, but not too knowledgeable on all the very specifics. So let's drop this down. Yeah, we're still gonna have an issue. So let's just do this. We're gonna have the slope come out there, and then it's just gonna have a harsher slope, and that's all right. It's an express line. We could have a station up here. I think this is like a baseball fields, just a park. So in reality, would you want to make this housing? You have all the highway right here, probably not. So we won't put a station there. So let's connect the outside tracks and connect the inside. Perfect. I just love this. This is so nice. It took me a while to figure that out, if I'm gonna be honest. All right, while we're over here, we have all that set up. We have Mavericks Station, We have Logan. And then we're going to have an Eagle Hill station. There's not, I think it's dense enough to say, put a station here. We're going to have a station in Chelsea and Revere, come down. You know, it should be fun. We shouldn't be blowing the budget too much. I mean, each station is 100 million. Maybe they won't like that, but I think it's fine. I think today we won't be able to build a Chelsea station. We'll see how much budget we have left. We could say, you know, maybe they build a big parking lot, park and ride. For now, I don't think the length of the station matters. And I think we just want to have it aligned. They added the undo button, which is very nice. Let's do that. Okay. Yeah, that's a dense place. So let's connect these two. Perfect. So now our northeast part of today's episode is done. Okay, next. Let's see how easy it is to connect these. Easy. Okay, south station is done. So, I think looking south, this is how it's gonna go. It would be nice to get a seaport line eventually. I think we're gonna have to add another cross station in the future, like that. And that will be an experiment, but I think a seaport line might be useful. Right now a bus connects seaport to some of the stations, the silver line. And then this red line, I believe we're gonna kind of follow this path, which I believe is a similar path. I'd have to look at our maps. Okay, so I know there's Tufts Medical, which is a station that I'd want to keep. I believe it's this building, and that's gonna be our stop after. Actually, can I see? Yeah, I think it's right there. We're gonna have our orange line. Right now the orange line goes down to Huntington, kind of over here. You can actually see this is where the path is, and there's a station, I believe, right here. We're gonna have it come down here, and just, you know, it's heavy rail. We could say there's trolleys in between or buses in between, because our green line's gonna be on Boylston all the way over here. And then we're gonna have a little different. We're gonna have a major station right here that separates. Right now it separates right here, but I wanna use kind of the park to guide. We could even have a major station back here instead, and say, you know, half the green lines are going down Huntington and half of them are going down Boylston. Or actually, I guess, what is this street? I actually don't know the street name. I guess Calm Ave, yeah, Calm Ave is over here. This is Storo. That's the highway. This is Calm Ave. And I believe this is Calm Ave. Actually, let me check real quick. It's right. Beacon, I'm so sorry. Native Bostonians. This is Beacon Street. So we're gonna have a green line going down Beacon Street. We're gonna have one going down Calm Ave. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. And then down Huntington. Much like the real line. There's a kind of splits off into fingers. And then we're gonna have radial stops connecting. So ideally we'd be able to go from South Boston to Fenway directly. I think that's gonna be a rail. We're gonna connect up. We're gonna have a station back here, kind of in the heart, and then we're gonna have a station on the side. And this one's gonna go east-west, this one's gonna go north-south. I think there's a station right here. I think that's actually gonna be for next episode. Okay. So we have some stations built. We have around another $1 billion. Now, where do I want to go? I think the next logical choice, looking at demand stats for our first subway, would be to make a Park Street, Boylston. So right now I think there's a stop right here and there's a stop right here. We're gonna combine those two, and we're gonna call it Boston Comm Station, and we're gonna have a quad track, and we're gonna do cut and cover. And before, this is a little bit finicky because we want our green line to run down Boylston, this street right here, and then we want our orange line to come up on Mason Street, I guess, and then cut over into Washington Street, which I think is this street, if I'm not mistaken. There's a lot of housing over here. I think this would be a good way to get these guys up to downtown. So let's connect these quad tracks. And it's gonna give me issues, so let's kind of weave in and out. Oof, 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 oof. Is there any way we're gonna be able to fit these tracks? Can I go in the street level? I guess, can I? Oof. Okay. So, just to save us time, we're gonna not use cut and cover. Oof, it does not like that. Oh, that's why, the grade. There we go, okay. So we're gonna have that swoop. Oh, cause that's cut, that's cover. Okay, so let's just do that. Get all the streets nice and right. Okay, perfect. We're gonna have to remember to do crossovers at our ending stations. That's one thing, or we will not be able to run lines. So let's add those just real quick, because I know these two are my stations. I think for today, North Station, we won't be going into Somerville. Actually, maybe we should. Let's see the residents compared to. Yeah, I think maybe we're definitely gonna run into Kendall, MIT. There's a lot of workers there, which is I think right. Yeah, it's right here. Actually, before I forget, because those are easy stations, just the parallels, cut and covers. Let's just put that one in, so we don't forget. Oop. And we'll just make it a long station, and we'll connect these tracks up. And we have issues. Okay. I think I dealt with these little pylons before. And we're just gonna do that. And then simplify everything. We'll have a little bit of a bend coming in. And the slope's too much. Oh, because I dropped this one down. Okay. So let's drop this one down. Perfect. Don't have any issues. And we'll add a crossover at our Kendall, MIT. And before we set up any of the lines, we'll name all the stations. This one will just be Government Center, and then we'll use the cardinal directionals. Okay. So, in real life, there's a green station, Arlington, right here. I think I want to do max 2 stations along this road, because we're doing heavy metro, we're not doing light. We're going to be able to transport more people and go faster, so we won't have less stops. And I think 2 stop is good for this Back Bay area. So we're going to have one right here. I know we're going to have one right here. We're going to have Haynes Convention Center. Let's see. We have 2.26. So I think it makes the most sense for our last stations we build over here. And so we'll have 3 more stations, the tracks, and then we'll have to add 2 crossovers. So I think we'll have enough budget. So there's a station right here. I forgot the name of it. There's a station over here, and a station over here. So to make it simplify, we're gonna have a station right here, kind of at the end. This is Mass Ave, so Mass and Boylston, and then one over here, kind of like by the library, I believe, somewhere over here. I think it's this building. Correct me if I'm wrong. So cut and cover. Let's just create this station. I'm just trying to make it straight too, because it helps my OCD and my ADHD. So we'll have a station right there, and then we'll have a station right here. How about? I think this is a big church. Yeah, this is the church. That should be good. That way we can have some speed going through here. Oh, and my laptop is about to die, so let me charge it and I'll be right back. connect these two. So we're gonna have a big issue right here. So ideally, we're gonna have our parallels as close as possible there. And then I know we're gonna have a station coming this way, coming to Tufts. So we're gonna have a segment right here, and it's gonna be very short, and that's gonna be our 5. And then we're gonna have an 11 station to be able to go under all these buildings, and that's gonna be pretty short too. Short as we can get it. Okay. And then we're gonna have that loop in right here. And right now this is a hotel. Let's say the city, buys it, makes a nice big station on top or underneath, and then something. Okay, so how long? So that's pretty long. And we want it kind of curving. So we're gonna have our station right here. That way we can easily start running down Washington Street. Let's delete these tracks. Let's do this better. Build tracks. Let's have it start running kind of straight, and then we'll drop it down. Okay, that was a lot easier than when I first was doing all this. And then we'll have this come right here. And then for this one, let's just, so we get this kind of sloping, right? I don't like that. I don't think we need that. Can we do that? Oh, it doesn't like that. Okay. Because we're using cut and cover, we can build out the tracks kind of further back and just say, hey, we'll rip up a little bit of Boston Common. Why not? Right, this is Boston Garden. Not sure. And then we'll delete the little bit that connects. And because these are all the same heights, this one should be relatively easy. Connect there. Connect there. Connect the 2 outsides. And then connect the 2 insides. Perfect. Some spaghetti. Okay. So we do have enough money for another station or 2. Let me add the crossover. And we're gonna have to save some money for our trains. So let's add a crossover here. Okay. So now I'm just debating if we should have another station into Cambridge, a station into Somerville. Remember, we're splitting off the orange line and the green line up here. In real life, I think the green line has to stop right here. I don't think that's necessary, especially with heavy metro so close to each other. I think maybe our next station will be here. And then in Somerville, our station will be, I think it's up here in Assembly Square, maybe a little closer. In the future, I would also want to have a radial that probably connects this station to this station to this station to maybe Eagle Hill, and that's what it could serve as, kind of a cross. But we'll see when we get there. We also don't know how profitable our system will be. So let's go into our demand stats real quick. We haven't built anything just yet. We have a big bubble down here. I think we're collecting that. These guys can go over here. These guys can go here. We don't have anything into South Boston yet. And, it seems kind of tough if you're living over here to get all the way here. So let's put a station along this main street. I'm not too familiar with the area, but let's put a station right here. These 2 roads meet. And we'll do cut and cover. And let me just kind of straighten it out. Perfect. Okay. And let's see how many issues we're going to have with the cut and cover. Not too many. Just one. Just one. Okay. And guys, I don't care that much. So we're going to bulldoze that. 2.8. I don't think we have enough for another station. Another station is going to cost us like 100 million, I think. Let's see, how much would that cost? point, or it's about, yeah, 700 million? Or 70 million, sorry. So, but we need the tracks to connect. So I think realistically, we couldn't do a station up here. We could do a station further into Harvard. I want to research this area more. Or into Cambridge, sorry, up to Harvard. Which is up here. I want to do more research on this area. And I know I want a big station here because I know I want a, right now there's a popular bus line, the one that goes across the bridge here. I want to make that a metro. And that's where this Boylston, this is also going to be a big cross station. And that's kind of how, I said Fenway will be our kind of cross station, but I think this street right here would be suit us better. Kind of connecting, going down Mass Ave, going into South Boston. This is actually pretty fun because I'm seeing a lot of opportunity for stations. So let's leave that area open for next time. And I know I want a station here, so let's just see where our demand bubbles are. Okay. I think currently the station is maybe right here. I think we can fit it in between this building. I'm guessing this is some kind of highway. It looks like I guess there's a roundabout. I don't think it's a highway, but it's probably a busy road. Hopefully they can build some pedestrian paths to connect all the neighbors. It looks like build a big parking lot right here as well for everyone who wants to take the train. So let's just kind of, actually, could I run above ground? That's one thing. Now that we're out of the city in this area, could I run it above ground? No. And I think that's the one issue with this game, is you have this option, but in real life, even with the light metro, it doesn't want you, let me do the build tracks, it doesn't want you intersecting with roads, which in real life you can have interactions between a light rail and a road. So I find it very hard to build anything at grade besides, you know, kind of in this area, you're saving a lot of cost. I'm gonna be right back. I'm gonna look at the map to see where we should put this. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So this is community college. This is a station. It looks at grade. This is elevated over here. So we're not gonna be able to run it at grade, or in real life, sorry. You know, this highway's elevated and it's able to sneak through. We're gonna have to run it as a subway, which I think is kind of fun. Let's just make everything a subway, underground. So we're gonna copy a similar path, because I think if we run this at grade, it's gonna think this highway, yeah. In real life, it's running underneath the highway, but that's all right. I wonder, can I just run it elevated then? What's that elevated? Ooh, interesting. I think it'd be better just to run cut and cover, just so we don't have any issues with any buildings out here. Oh, we are gonna have issues with these buildings. Like, am I gonna be able to sneak that in later? Oh, but it recognizes this as, yeah, okay. So just to make it easy with the highway, we're gonna have the station underground. Congrats, community college, you get a new station. And, you know, hopefully there's some bus routing going. That's the only thing, is there's not much demand right there. So I'm wondering, would it just be better to put it on the inside of these streets? I actually didn't see what this big gap is. I'm gonna look at my phone for 1 sec and just see. It's just a median. It's just, I think the map's not really showing it correctly. And then there's kind of a highway entrance at the end. So this road kind of operates like a highway. Or it is, yeah. with very narrow frontage roads. So I think we're just gonna have a little bit of fun and just assume it's not a highway. Yeah, because we're not gonna have any issues. We're just gonna say this is a big road, and there'll be safe ways for people to get to and from the station. I'm gonna build the tracks. Let's see if we have any issues. Nice. Okay, I think that's the rest of our money. Oof, okay. Looking back, we might not be able to build that station. I spent all that time, and we're not going to be able to build that station. Okay, let's just calculate how much, and we're going to have to add a crossover as well. Okay, so we're going to undo and leave that for next time. Yeah, because those tracks cost a lot. Okay, so let's check everything out. Let's get our crossovers, make sure we're all good. I think actually, okay. Let's just make sure we have our crossovers. We know this is our last station over here. So we could run a station here. It'd be a lot cheaper. I think we'd be able to make it because I think we're gonna need. I don't want to run out of money for trains. That'd be awful. So let's just build. Let's add a crossover here and hope for the best. Okay. So here's our network. It's looking pretty good so far. Let's build. Oh, I should have saved. Okay. We'll just save. This was my test one for Boston. I was just checking up on Boston for YouTube. Save. Okay. We have 150 in the bank. We know we're gonna want to run some high demand lines, crisscrossing. We're gonna have our orange line going up. We're gonna have a green. We're gonna have a yellow, a blue, and a red. So that's minimum. We have 5 trains. That's minimum 20 more cars. And if we want to run some high demand, I think we're gonna run. Let's just go with 20 cars for now, and see and start our routing. Make sure everything's right, and then we can expand after our first day of service. So we'll have our green line, blue line. We're just gonna use the colors that the game provides. Red line, yellow line, and the orange line. I almost forgot. Orange line. Okay. So let's start with the blue line. We're gonna start here. I think before I didn't have this station, but I expanded into Chelsea when I did the test. But I think this should be fine for now. Actually, before we do that, let's name all of our stations. This is the Eagle Hill station. This is the neighborhood there. Historic residential. This we're just gonna shorten to Maverick. We're gonna have airport, or we're just gonna have Logan. International, hopefully. International. Hopefully the visitors know. This could be State Street. I like Aquarium. That's the name for it in real life. North Station. This is Charles / MGH, Mass General Hospital. Oh, that's nice. It has station groups. I haven't seen that. That's really nice. Huh. Okay. So we're gonna have Government Center, and this is gonna be east-west. I guess it could be west-east. Doesn't matter. Government Center, north, and that's just so we can check our routes. We can easily identify which one is connected. But in reality, it would just be called Government Center. It would just be one major station. And then this one is going to be Kendall Square and MIT. And then this one is going to be a new station. It's going to be Boston Commons. Or we just call it Commons. And then this one is Tufts Medical Center. I know that one. This one, I think we're gonna call this library. It could also be called church. There's a church there. And then this is gonna be called, I think, Boylston. I think that's a good one. We could call it Boylston, Mass. Let's just stick with Boylston for now. Even though this whole track's gonna be Boylston, I think that makes sense. This one, I don't know too much about South Boston, so we could just call it, we'll just call it South Boston for now. And actually, let's try to find out something about the area. And let's see where this converges. This converges, looks to be like some warehouses and stuff. Old Colony in Dorchester. Not too much I'm getting. Alright, we're gonna call this South Boston North. Or, I guess, because I'm just wondering, what are we gonna call this one? We're gonna call this one Deep Boston. And this one's gonna be South Boston. And then this is going to be South Station. Nice. So I think we've named up all of our stations. I'm hoping you guys are learning a little bit about Boston and can also teach me in the comments a little bit about Boston. So we built everything. We have our trains. Let's start our routing. Start in Eagle Hill. And we just want to make sure we're following the correct lineage. It kind of does it automatically for you, which is nice. And see, this is what I built it earlier. It swoops over, goes around. It's really nice. I'm glad I figured that out. I think it opens up a lot in this game. Aquarium. And same thing. It's swooping over, coming back. And then we're on that outside line and that line. So, let's get our trains. We're just gonna have one high demand train. In the future, I want medium demand and low demand for every single line. And then we'll have longer trains for the high demand. But I think for now, let's just worry about daytime workers. I guess maybe a medium demand. Because that only takes... See, that's what I'm wondering. I have 25 trains. Is this just the same train? They're just going to use... I think that's how it works. Let's just do one of each. We'll see how much trains we have left. And then we'll be able to go from there. Oh, my cat has come up onto the table to annoy me. Okay, that's... Oh, continue adding. Cancel. That's one thing I've noticed. It deletes your route sometimes. You have to be very careful. I don't know why it does that. See, look, it's being all weird. So you have to go here. And then we have to go to the outside line. So confirm. And then if I open up, yeah, there we go. Okay. I don't know why it does that, if anyone knows. We're gonna start this one. It doesn't matter which side, I don't think. No. No valid path. Okay, that's an issue. That's an issue. So that means something up here is broken. So let's just start the green line up here. And let's see the path it would take. It would go on this outside, this third line. It would run up. It'd go here. No valid path. So it's something with this configuration. So let me try. I think because we're missing that other track. or I put this track wrong. So remember, this one is down. These two should be down. Where's that node? If you can find the node, it helps. I guess it doesn't matter. Oh, the slope. That's one thing. It's kind of annoying. So you gotta remember where your slopes are. Okay. I think that should be fine. It looks good. Okay, let's see if that works now. Green line, edit route. Can we even just connect up these? Perfect. Look at that. That's all we needed. So I guess, guys, remember, because let's see. It's coming in. Oh, I see it's crossing and then crossing again. So make sure you have both. When you're doing that setup, make sure after your crossover, it's connecting to both the outside lines. And I don't know if this is right. I know they're supposed to be like express lines. I've like what I'm doing it, how I'm doing it. But if you have any issues, let me know. In trains, oh, we gotta make sure. That's why. Okay, that's why you have to confirm before you go into trains. I think that's the issue I've been having. Confirm. Trains. We're gonna put one high demand train. 14-minute frequency. Let's see if our blue line saved. What is that? 13-minute frequency. Okay, so not bad. Now red line. Let's see if we're having any issues with this. We're gonna have this. Oof. Okay. That should be fun. Okay, there we go. Yeah, it's working. Perfect. Look at that. That's beautiful. And then, forgot it starts here. Perfect. Confirm and then trains. And then that should save, right? Yeah. Perfect. Look at that. Okay. Now, we're going to get our orange line. I'm going to TUS. And we're using these two tracks. These two tracks. And then I guess we want to use this outside track. Oh, okay. That's not going to work. So let's confirm so we don't have any issues. And let's look at our green line. The green line's running down the middle. So we want to add a track, which I don't think it's going to let us. Because it needs to... So for now, can I put the route? Okay. For now, we're going to run along this line in the future because we're going to be able to come back on this track because this one's going to go straight up north. But for now, I'm not completely sure how to connect it up because we would have to have an extension where it can come back. So for now, we're just going to run it on this platform, which is fine because that's the platform we'll come back on once it goes north. Yeah, it's kind of nice and easy. So we have our government stop. Okay. Look at that. Okay. And now, lastly, our yellow one. Oh, wait, did we assign any trains? Let's assign a high demand train. And then... let's just make sure all our lines are good. Okay, yellow. Yellow, we just want pinging between Maverick. Let's put this one first. Maverick, and I hope this one's probably gonna have the most issues. Nope, it has none. And we don't have to do that. I want it on the outside, I think, stopping. Look at that. Confirm changes. And then one train. Okay. We need one more train. We're out of train cars. So let's go to buy. Nice. Okay. There's our lines. And we're going to run a couple days, see how it goes. I think first, let's think about the demand. I think this blue line is going to get a lot of demand. So we're going to add one train to medium frequency. Oh, I see. We don't need to buy more trains for that. Okay. So it's really just about the operations budget. So for that, we're going to have medium demand and high demand for all the trains. And then once we start having some capacity issues and people are starting to take the trains, then we'll expand. And I don't want to run any low demand right now. I do on all the lines. I want to have low demand in the future. I think it's crucial for a city to be able to get home at 2 a.m. without a car. I think you should be able to take the train at 2 a.m. Call me a socialist. I don't care. Sorry, that was a bit of a tangent. Okay, we have 90 million. We're gonna save that for new stations. I know New York, it's really easy to print money. Boston, I found it a little bit harder. We're gonna have our fare at $3. That's the base amount, and we're gonna see if we have any issues. I hope we might have some issues with balance too, and that way our, starting with almost 100 million will help in case we have any big operational expenses that I didn't think of. Okay, let's start it. I guess we're not gonna have any trains start for a little bit, so I'll fast forward until then. Okay, I just saw it. The first trains have started going along. So let's follow one real quick. Oh, they're already carrying people. Wow, there's a lot of detail. So they live here. They're going to work there. Driving would cost them $2. Parking would cost them $5. So they save money. That is really cool. This game is very cool. So, can we follow a train? I thought you could. I've done it before. I'm forgetting my controls. There we go. Yeah, let's have the stats up. Why not? Let's go a little faster. Damn, look at him. Look at him go. Zooming along. Picking up people. I think we're going to have some issues here with the blue line turning around, but we'll see. I hope there's not too many. So far we have 0 people taking this train, but it's okay. It's 4 a.m. Oh, 100 people. Nice. Where are they going? Downtown? Oh, they're still on. Or is that just saying the amount of people total? I don't think that's the amount of people. Yeah, okay. Cool. So we're losing a bit of money. That's how it is. That's how it's gonna be. And we're making money. Oh, lose money. 6 a.m. though, we're gonna be printing money. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. Look at all those red dots go everywhere. I think it's important to have a bunch of lines starting off. You could just have one line and kind of wait. I think it's fun. It's kind of multitask. Going into the future, we're going to have our orange line going up here. We're going to have a red line going up here. We're going to have the green fingers, I'll call it. And then we're going to have the orange line. I'm going to have to do some research on where it actually goes in real life. I know the red line goes down here. I know the orange line kind of cuts across, but it's using Mass Ave over here. And then I know I want to connect south. We'll call it the deep south to Boylston, up to Cambridge. So if I was living up here, I'd be able to get all the way down here via train, via subway. Over here, I know I know it goes over here, but if I'm gonna be honest, I see a lot more population density over here. I mean, there's not that much people over here compared to Eagle Hill, Chelsea, Revere. Even up here, there's a lot. And we want to capture those trips. So I think this is going to be an issue. This is going to be one where we split off up here. And maybe right here we have a line going north. It's really cool. See all these dots. We want to make sure. I'm gonna pull the demand stats up, and we're gonna see this. That's people driving. We don't want people driving into downtown. So our goal is to make this blue, and then I think we'll be successful, and that will mean that transit is their main way of getting here. It is cool to see the walking. There's a bit of walking, especially in kind of over here. 6%, I guess, are walkers. 30% are driving. Actually, that number is going to change a lot once this 55% gets calculated. In transit, is there any bubbles, blue bubbles yet? Or I guess yellow. When you're clicking on the travel demand, it will be yellow. So nothing yet. Oh, no way. Okay. So this these couple of apartments, most people are taking transit. That's awesome. And even says, wow, that's so cool. So I guess I want to see the one thing. If I'm clicking on, oh wow, wait. Oh, what is happening? What are all these? Okay. Let's go back into the demand stats. Oh, is that saying where they were going? Oh, now they're purple. No, it wasn't. Huh. So if I go to workers and then I click all modes and I'm clicking on where are these people coming from, that's how it works. So I see this point. Yeah. I see this point and I can see where people are coming from to go to this point, is my interpretation of this. So we have about 220,000 workers coming to this point. We see a lot of from up here. So that will be good once we extend our blue line up into there. Then they can walk from Aquarium, or they can go to Government Center and take the red line down south if they need to transfer, or even transfer to Tufts Medical. Right here, I mean, you should be walking. Your work's right there. What are you guys doing? I hope that this is saying where, worker mode share. So I'm clicking. I hope that this is showing the residents, because that's the whole point, is it's residents to workers during the day at least. Okay. So we can do that with all the big bubbles. We could click on this bubble. Where are people from here? So if they're around the area, they're walking. And if they're further, they're driving. So this one's going to be a little bit harder to capture. There's some bubbles up here. Some bubbles down here. So actually, wait, that shouldn't be that hard. Because look, we're going to have the red line come down here. I know Braintree is the last stop. I'm not sure exactly where that is. We're probably going to go maybe that far south. We'll see. We might have to convert all these red bubbles to blue. And then residents. That's, especially in the city, everyone's walking. A lot of people walking over here. Interesting. Okay, we've had our fun. Let's run this for a couple days and see where our budget's at. And I'm just gonna do a little time lapse. Okay, done with our first day. I think it went pretty well. Let's see our rider stats. So, let's look at our financials. Pretty in the green, around I guess we were losing money, but the rest of the day, we were doing pretty well. Our expenses were a little bit high. We didn't have any issues. We didn't have any capacity issues. So hopefully, as we add more stations, we will start to get those, because that's a good thing. You want at, your stations at capacity. It says we made 14 million in profit today, so not too bad. So we'll take a couple of new days to afford a new station. Operational profit. Okay. So really just one bad hour. But this is going to be the thing, is if we run trains all night, which I want to do, we're going to lose a lot of money. So I think we're going to worry about building the stations out first and then adding trains during these hours, 12 to 4 a.m. And let's see our ridership stats. Station ridership. So government center, by far the biggest. Oh, and they add a station group. That's really nice. Yeah, that's really nice. So our north-south station saw 16,000 people. Or east-west in our north-south station. Or which ones are east-west? This one's our east-west. East-west saw 16,000 people. North-south saw 8,000. A lot of people over here. Okay, that's a good thing. This station I would like to see a little bit more demand, but it's all right. It's on the way. These two stations, I mean, in reality, this station would have a lot more because it has Amtrak coming into it. Maybe they'll fix that in the future. It's kind of hard to get all the little details, 3,000. Okay, so we maybe want to tweak this line. I want to see a little bit more ridership there. 9,000, that's pretty good. That's pretty good geez. I did not expect that. Wow. Does it say where they're coming from? No. End station groups. Okay. OD. What is OD? To home. Okay. And then transfers. I'm guessing most transfers, are happening here. I don't know why transfers would be happening where it's just blue. Don't really understand that. I guess you're hopping on the blue here? That makes no sense. Okay, and then let's see our route ridership. So our blue line actually saw the most people. That makes sense. Our Eagle Hill. Yellow line didn't see. And orange, I mean, that makes sense. There's not that, it's sharing stops with green line. We won't see a lot of ridership on the orange line until it kind of diversifies itself. Kind of like the red line. The red line's the most unique out of all of them. It saw the most ridership. And I guess the blue line, damn, that's very impressive. When I tested it, the blue line was not, I had it up here and it was not getting this amount of people. So that's a good sign. I think it's because I added then this aquarium stop, which allows people to kind of go down here, people from Seaport can hop on real quick. Okay, so that was the first day. We're not officially done, but we're pretty close since we have no overnight trains going right now. So thanks for joining. We'll have episode 2 coming. If you have any thoughts, suggestions, questions, put them in the comments. Thanks for joining, and I'll see you next time.